At the beginning of me, do we have any announcements besides a big conference going on in August?
The announcements.
Announcements.
There's two meetings tomorrow. Dallas is having a meeting where who's going to be at that meeting? Clay Mackel, and then
really?
Yeah, and then Los Angeles is having a meeting, and there is some overlap. I might mention it to the organizers. So two awesome meetings, so people have to choose wisely.
Yeah, lots of meetings.
Which are they both going to be recorded?
I know that I call them the Los Angeles group, but they're formerly the FileMaker Developer Interest Group of Southern California. Of course, it's a little bit outdated because it's now a global group with global reach via Zoom. They record and they drop it real quick the next day. I believe the Dallas group is pretty good at recording, but I don't know. I'm not affiliated.
Dallas is always recorded. Harmonic is built quite a studio to do all that.
And Dennis, you're based in Texas, I believe?
No, I escaped Texas 5 years ago, Tony.
Colorado.
Okay.
Right?
I'm in Denver.
Oh, so but so you know them because you used to hang with them?
Yeah, I used to help organize those meetings back in the days when they were in person at a restaurant. And we had a couple of meetings at a different place before the pandemic arrived. And ever since the pandemic, Harmonic has taken over the hosting at their own place, and they've put in a lot of investment in camera and recording equipment.
Well, I would request that the user groups have their meetings on different weeks and days and different hours even.
But it'd be nice. Speaking of and actually, this might interest, I forget, Vivian, or we were having a little conversation earlier before other people arrived about, I think John was talking about maybe live streaming the whole conference or something like that. And then I guess other people didn't think that was the best idea. But yeah, I am interested in user groups being responsible for sections or parts, live streaming whatever they can or would want to be able to live stream. And managing or sponsoring the recording of certain sessions so that we can kind of split up the load so that not all our eggs are in one basket, but we could have different sessions recorded and maybe on Zoom by different user groups. That way we can spread that stuff out, and that'd be kind of an incentive for user groups to show up and generate some content, have some content for their sites and things like that. But user groups tend to be kind of geared that way anyway. So if they have to be fairly good at going out and getting speakers, getting recordings, generating discussion, things like that. So I think that might be a thing for us to do. Yeah, Vincent's coming in again.
There's more than one Vince Bonanno.
Now there is.
It's a common name.
Yeah, well, there's more than one Eric too, so we're tied at the moment. And you're muted, Vince.
So I had to go pick up my daughter, and so I was listening but not participating. But now I'm sitting at my computer and participating. So
you saw that you're catching the last of the sunset there out my window. That's my balcony that I'm staying at Asilomar. And
the audio is still switching over. There we go. Okay, sorry. Eric, you said something I didn't hear because
so I don't know if you caught that, but that's out the window, or also on my phone view there. That's the end of the sunset. from my
nice.
balcony. That looking out over the ocean.
Beautiful.
You could probably, if you want a better view, you could probably pin that and it'll bring it up bigger. But
Did Sully leave?
oh yeah. Yeah, I
He
don't
left,
think he could stay for the whole thing.
Oh, okay. Because I wanted to ask him a question, but I will have to ask him another time. Yep.
Like, so I guess the other thing too is like if you're not speaking, maybe mute yourself, or Vince or Tony will have to do that for you. if you're shuffling papers around or something. Well, all right. So is that it for announcements? I guess so.
Sort of.
Anybody have anything to share?
I do.
Oh, I do have one more announcement. We do have, DIGFM does have a discount code for registering for full access. And I'm trying to remember what it is. Let's see. Where is that? Let's see if I can find it. It's I don't know if John knows if John has it on hand or not.
You're looking for the code?
Yeah, we had that discount code that we have for DIGFM. So if you
I'll pull it
register-
up. It'll take me a minute. I'll pull it up.
Oh, I found it. Expand post. It is. Oh yeah, I will put it in the FA26 DIGFM1.
Put it in the chat.
Yeah. Where's my chat? So yes, I would. There you go. What percentage is that off? Oh, $100 off.
$100 off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Price goes up on Valentine's Day.
Yep. So get registered early and often.
Real quick, sort of an announcement, Eric, may I?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I was going to see if we can do this with my video on. So I ordered this thing and it came from China. It just got here in the last 10 minutes. What this is a laptop display expander with 3 monitors. You put your laptop in front of this one, and with one cord you plug it in with no drivers or anything, and you've got 3 16-inch monitors on your laptop on the road, and it folds up to the size of a laptop, so you can put it all in one bag with your laptop. I bought this.
Wait, so the one in the middle, is that a monitor too, or just?
No, that's just the plate that holds it together, in which you would put the lip of your laptop.
Oh,
which I don't have time to display. I haven't even opened it yet, but the whole idea of this is for when we get to Full Access 26 and we're doing game shows. I've got this thing that I wrote that would allow me to control an entire game, but it takes multiple monitors, and this way you don't have to have 2 people running the technology. One person can run it, and then you've got a panel of judges.
I thought the whole idea of that was running flight simulators.
Running what?
Flight simulator. So you can actually,
Well,
with a flight simulator, you can have front, top, left, right views, rear views, whatever you want with that.
I work on multiple monitors anyhow, like crazy, right? So for me,
Yikes.
this is natural, but this way I can take it on the road and all in one shot. I can have one screen, the top that displays on the 150-inch screen we're going to have, and the rest can be for controlling it. So I get 4 monitors total. Just thought I'd share that with you. It just came in while you guys were talking.
So it comes in with the monitors? It comes with it?
Yeah, it's 3 monitors mounted on a pad, which makes it a total of 4 monitors of your laptop. All you just plug it in. It's like on sale for like $650.
Wow.
And it's all HD, 4K type stuff. 4K
It's like a laptop on steroids.
Huh?
Laptop on steroids there.
Laptop on steroids. Thought I'd share that with you.
Thank you.
That's my control panel for Full Access.
And look, Mike Ross is in the house. Also a
Hey, Mike.
full access organizer.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I've been
Any
fighting a bad internet connection all day, so
Yeah.
I'm here with you.
Well,
Join the
that's
club.
so that's one thing we hope to get fixed, because the Wi-Fi here is pretty good, except for my room is not getting it right now. So I'm using a hotspot, but the hotspot for AT&T works really well. But
Yeah, you got a nice clean signal there.
but yeah, I'm dependent on my hotspot at the moment.
But what does the facility provide in terms of Wi-Fi?
Their Wi-Fi is pretty good. I don't know what happens if 200 FileMaker users show up.
But they told us that they're overhauling the whole Wi-Fi here.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah,
That's scheduled, Mike, I think they said March. That sound right?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah, it looks like it's an early spring initiative.
So I was able to call tech support, and they're working. They said actually the router for this side for this building it was down, and they restarted the port, and I think they're going to end up having to send somebody tomorrow. So maybe by the end of tomorrow, I might be able to report on how that's doing for this building. But otherwise, I was able to connect from other places just fine.
We spent hours today while he was touring around the facility, like he was zooming while he was taking measurements, and we were reevaluating what goes where at Asilomar for hours. Thank you, Eric.
Hey, David.
Hey, Dave Simpson.
Ken was just talking about you behind your back.
Oh, okay.
You turn around, we'll talk behind your back a little more.
Any other announcement? Anything else to share?
I was on Richard Carlton Live today with Hansa.
Oh,
we were talking about file sizes and how you use the FileMaker FM developer tool to get the size of data in different fields and tables, and the size of the indexes. So was good discussion, and Hansa also shared. I'll post a link to it, but he shared a shell script that he made available on his website that allows you to run that shell script and gathers up all the data for all the tables and fields.
Wow. So that'll work on a Mac then, I guess?
But I believe so, yeah.
Is this for server or for the client side?
No, the FM developer tool will only run on a copy of the file, so it doesn't run on a hosted copy. You have to have a copy of the file. It has to be closed. So because it has to kind of access the file, so you can't you can't have the file open in two places, so to speak. So anyway, worth looking at his tool that his shell script that he shared, posted it. Let me know if you guys see it. But it definitely saves you a fair bit of time, because the command will only work on a table at a time. Anyway, in testing the FileMaker developer tool, especially for these two new capabilities, there's still some issues that I found, at least that I reported. And I don't know if they've gotten fixed yet, but hopefully that will get resolved. And there were some other future enhancements that we were hoping for. So hopefully in the next release, we'll see that. But anyway.
I finally figured out who's doing the rustling around. That's John Howell.
Oh.
John. John's the guilty party.
John. Yeah.
So Vince, that sounds like an interesting presentation and fast turnaround from the Richard Carlton team, because apparently that was streamed live 4 hours ago, currently available as a YouTube video.
Oh, that was fast.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be on tomorrow.
So Dave's on there tomorrow. Tony's going to be on sometime this month.
No, 8 days from now. Which is, yes, that is. Set your calendar. Put it on your calendar.
And who else was? David, Vince, yeah, Tony. Huh. Pretty good.
Hansa and I are on there again on the 22nd.
And you were on previously too, right? Like a few days before?
Oh, no, this was like maybe a month ago.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Vince has been appearing with
Hansa
a couple times. And I've watched David's presentation. Kevin Frank was there recently. They're letting anybody present. Just kidding.
Oh, you have Tony's there.
Even you,
No.
even you.
Yeah, I know. Throw myself under the bus.
Ah.
Don't want to be a part of any club that.
Probably be a one shot. You're like, all right, thanks. We'll call you if we need you.
All right.
So Tony, are they going to let you not show your camera?
Actually, with Eric, I did I don't know if it's a feature or a bug, but I did a little test with Eric to see if I use my iPhone for the audio. It's a real Rube Goldberg thing. But I have to say that really the presentation should be about the content.
Mm-hmm.
No. As long as it's been since anybody has seen Tony White, it does need to be about him appearing on camera.
I might. It depends. I'm going to ask. I'll do an audio and I'll say, look, you can have it either way. You can have it with the better audio when I'm like full headset, or if you want to do it through the iPhone, I'll do that. It seemed okay either way. The content, gosh, I don't know the audience, and you guys might, Vince, because you already presented there. I don't want to be. There's an audience. What is the audience actually? Everybody.
There is an audience. It's a large audience, from what I recall. However, because I'm on Zoom, I don't get to see the list of people who are on there. I don't know how that works, but Margaret controls that. And so I don't, and she controls collecting the questions, etc.
Yeah, she curates and
she curates.
Because they're using two different systems to do everything, right? They're not everything's
multiple. They YouTube, Twitch, and one others.
Yeah,
probably TikTok.
Or
Discord, I think.
Which one?
Say Discord?
Discord?
Yeah,
Discord,
I remember that.
Discord, yeah.
So it's all over the place, and then you kind of, if you're not on everything, you can't see what's going on.
And
Richard
then
was there at the very beginning today. So
who?
Richard was there at the very beginning today. So.
And then you were doing pretty advanced stuff. I'd say your presentation sounds like was on the advanced side.
No, I mean, not necessarily advanced, but just, digging into how to use the developer tool, and how to gain insight in terms of, cracking open the file to see where the space is. What is eating up my disk space? That's the topic of the web page that Hansa has. But
that's really cool.
Up until this tool, there was literally no way to know how much space is being taken up by a field in a table. So you have 3,000 rows of data, and that column is taking up 600 bytes of data, just that column alone. Now, if you take the record count, and you divide that by the record count, then you get the average size of that column per record. But there's a number of other metrics you could just discern by doing the same thing across all the columns, and then get the average record size for all the data. But anyway.
So, hey, Vince, I think it is interesting. I got a question for you, put you on the spot here. If there's different types of fields you could put in a database that have utility, and then I wonder about the cost. The most relevant one here would be I'll give you an example, simple example, unstored calculation. So let's say that you had two fields, first name, name first, name last, whatever. And you wanted for display purposes to have full name, but you wanted it just to display, like when you go to the record, but you didn't want to bloat. So you define it to be unstored. You go into storage and say unstored.
Yep.
With this magical tool from Claris. Hi, Claris. Would that then report that field as taking up zero space because it's unstored?
I'd have to double check that. I'd have to look at a field that's unstored, but I would assume yes.
Because that would mean that you could use calculated fields for display purposes.
Well, you could use layout calculations for that purpose if you just need to show it. I mean,
You
if you
could.
need to export it, then that's a separate topic, right? You need to have a
A little bit
field
of
to
each, depending on the use
export it.
case.
So yeah, but
And then list the other one on this theme, which I think is by its very nature is free, is a list of, because I think the list of the new summary field type list of showed up in 13.
yeah,
That seems to be a super duper useful thing to have available to call by script.
right.
Anyway.
To get all the values from all
Yeah,
the
like maybe, to
records.
return JSON.
Mhm.
People talk about like, how do I do this? It comes up a lot. How do I get a list view of all blank, or how do I get this? How do I get that? Just the field that returns JSON for the record, and then you target it with a list of that. That seems good. Anyway, I like the topic of the presentation you're talking about because it's got use cases.
Yep. I have a question for you all, actually, a topic
Oh.
that I'm interested in. Hans and I both are, interested in performance and, evaluating performance, etc. I mean, Hans has been doing a lot in terms of also putting out the benchmark tool that he provides, etc. But just a question for you all, like, so when, let's say you have a script that you want to measure how, parts of it or all of it is doing. I mean, normally I just, put bookend the beginning and the end of the script with get UTC timestamp and or UTC microseconds, etc. And then I can measure, how fast that script is executing, or a certain section of the script is executing, right? How many of you do that?
I do it.
You do that?
Yeah.
Anybody else? Nobody else?
What?
Occasionally,
Good old-
Occasionally?
not habitually.
Yeah. Well, usually for longer running things. No, even things things that run in loops and things like that. I want a beginning to end. And sometimes I even report it to the user how long it took. If it was a long thing, and it's like sometimes I have power users who want to, I'd like to inform them how long their processes are running because sometimes they have to leave and come back, and they'd like to know, well, how long did that take? After they went to lunch or something.
Yeah, I spent time adding that to the scripts, mostly when I'm like developing things, just to see like, oh, if I take this approach, how much better is it than this other approach? Like I'm just like trying to evaluate and see where I can make improvements because I can then measure that, right? But the thing that I don't like about it is that I have to modify the code.
Right.
Like I really hate that
Yep.
like, then I have to remember to remove it because I don't need it, or maybe I disable it because I might need it later.
It-
So
It'd be a nice feature, wouldn't it? Just to
it'd
turn it on and
be-
off for everything
yeah,
or anything,
exactly.
right?
Yeah, it would
Well,
be
that and whether or
amazing.
not a script is even ever being used, because I have all these old legacy things that it's like hundreds of scripts, and it's like I don't know which of these are being used or not.
Yep. How many times was it triggered? How many
Yeah.
times was it run?
If you had something you could just turn on, you find out if it's ever being run and how long it ran for, right? And who ran it.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, I think that the trade-off there is always going to be,
Overhead.
the overhead that it takes to do that. And so,
But I think
you know,
centrally you could make it so that because it's like Draco's all like a branching sort of system, right? You could make it so it branches off and does that. If
yeah, but
if you
there's
can
overhead in
if
doing that.
there's some central place you can turn that off and on, just like the same way you turn off and on and off access for like you make a script full access, you run
Yep.
full access, you could have a script that runs statistics, right? And just go down, let's say, turn them all on or turn on these ones and not have to actually edit the code, but actually just turn on, um, logging of some sort
On
for
a
the,
script by script basis.
yeah, right?
Oh, okay.
Without
I
actually
think
changing the code, right?
I mean, I would envision it to be more like like a server feature. You go to the server, you select the file, and you say, put it in debug mode. And then you would have different levels where you would say, I want a very high level. I just want to log, every time a script is run and how long it took to run. And
Do you get to pick the scripts, or is it going to do all or nothing?
It's just all or nothing. All or nothing.
I'd like to be able to pick them, but with the option to do all or nothing.
Yeah.
So the closest we get, I mean, the workaround for now, and I've done this, and there is an overhead. So I'm agreeing with what I'm hearing here is that I had a file at some point that I don't use much anymore called script use.
Yeah. And
it's kind of thematically similar to what Eric was talking about, is the script used. Like if you have, Vince, to your point, if you have a script that you call and you pass a package of data, like this is the name of the script, this is the script comment for the relevant script step, this is the timestamp, and then you just have a script that you're calling, and then you can turn off that script. You still have this, you still have those 2 lines in the script, but you're turning it off. And yes, you do have overhead.
Yeah, the overhead is going to be there no matter what.
Yeah. And then something similar for layouts too. Like, are these layouts being used?
So
yeah, like
we've done that with the layout. I mean, there's the brute force, like you put like a ridiculous banner on the layout saying, "Hey, if you see this stupid message, call us." We did it once with what is it? A data viewer that pinged a website, but there's other ways to do it. If somebody goes to the layout, that it pings, and you run that for a while.
Yeah, actually, that reminds me the session I had with Hansa a month ago was on that topic, and he showed, which is definitely worth listening to and seeing how he did this. But he showed how you could get a log of every time a calculation is evaluated, and he showed how certain calculations evaluate more than once. It's like, wow, that I didn't know that why that was happening. And he had maybe a dozen objects on the layout, and you think, okay, well, that's a dozen objects. Most layouts that have in legacy systems have hundreds or thousands of objects on a layout. And if you're able to do like a matrix kind of thing and see behind the scenes, like all the activity that's going on, we would be flabbergasted. Just like, why is it doing all this extra work when it doesn't need to? Who knows? Maybe they just haven't gotten around to optimizing that part of the code. But there are things like, did you know that the tooltip evaluates every time you move the mouse over a field that you have a tooltip? The calculation is evaluated. However, the tooltip only shows at a certain time, right? But if you were to put like some kind of log to evaluate every time that calculation is evaluated, you just move your mouse over a field and you'd see that it would be getting evaluated like hundreds of times. And just swishing it over a field.
I mean, not just when you're passing over, but other times too?
No, only when you're passing over it, but because every time you move the mouse a little bit, it registers as another, position, sort of, and then it has to evaluate that, that code gets evaluated.
Even though you haven't actually
horizontally and the field is kind of long, it's just recalculating like the whole time it's on the field.
Yeah,
basically.
Again, it's worth listening to the thing that Hansa did and I did.
Is that one of the Richard Carlton things, or was that the one you did today?
No, that was the one a month ago. And
okay.
Yeah.
So the dependency tree is more shaky than
well,
what's that? It's more like a performance tree.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wonder if they were to spend time at that level and say, well, let's rethink how this tooltip logic gets evaluated so that, when you move your mouse into that region, we keep track of the fact that it's in there. And if you're like, a little bit like when you choose a menu on a Mac. I remember Jeff told me this story a long time ago. So you choose a menu item on a Mac and you go down and there's a submenu. On a Mac, there was an algorithm that when you move your mouse and then you move diagonally into the submenu, that Apple had an algorithm to know, like, okay, you're still moving your mouse and that submenu is appearing, so we don't just disappear it, even though the mouse technically is no longer in the region that is bounded by the menu and the submenu. So, but we show it so that you can go diagonally across. And Jeff said on a Windows, if you were to do that, as soon as you move away from the region, it's gone. Like you have to go down and across to keep it like this box is here, this box is here. And if you do that, and so that subtlety was never programmed into some Windows version of the operating system. And however, maybe now it is, I don't know, but that was a long time ago. So those kind of I don't know, algorithms, ways of doing things at a low level, they just maybe they have not invested the time.
Well, it's good to know. I would say you could make a case for using tooltips ever since popovers showed up. And I know that tooltips and popovers are not the same thing. You could make a case for using either. I would say that when popovers showed up, they, in some cases, can replace tooltips. And now maybe even more so based on what we've heard here today.
Yeah. But, it wasn't just tooltips.
What else is
there was other things like I think conditional formatting. There were other things that were getting evaluated more than it needed to, let's say. And so the layout design surface is ripe for, let's say, improvements, optimizations. By the way, Hansa for I think over a year was on a mission to get enough votes to then say to Claris, we have a lot of interest in the community to optimize the calculation engine, and he's been in discussion with Clay about how the calculation engine could be dramatically improved, etc. So he reached a milestone. I think it was right after Claris Engage U, where he reached the number of votes that he needed to get. And so hopefully we'll see some forward progress on that as well.
I'm in favor. In the general theme here, Darren Terry did the presentation shaking the dependency tree, which I guess you could say is more about what layout calculations fire in what sequence.
Yeah. I wonder also if that, like, what is that? That's like 10 years old now, right? Because it's over 10 years old. Yeah.
Well, it's a long time. And I wonder if something changed, because I don't recall, Vince, what you're saying and what Hans is reporting, the, redundant firing. I hadn't heard that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe they added that as a bug later.
I mean, I wouldn't classify it as redundant, but repetitive firing, and I don't know if it's redundant, and I don't know if it's needed, and maybe it's just one of those things where they just haven't gotten to it to optimize it. But there is one thing that they did at some point, which is they broke out the layout rendering so that things can happen in multiple threads. And at one point, I think the technique was you put an object on the furthest part of the layout and you put another object on the frontmost part of the layout, and then you go to that layout and you can time, how long it took to render the layout. But I think at some point that broke just because now things that are on the layout can load in different threads. They don't all load like kind of, sequentially.
It's multi-threaded.
Yeah. And so I think it would be worth for Darren Terry to revisit shaking the dependency tree and see what's changed since then and now. So
Can I cut in there, Vince? I will talk to him about that because I asked him to give that class at Full Access last year, and he showed up one evening. He didn't want to give the class, but I think if he revisited it and restudied it, he's really good at that. It would be nice to have that at a new level.
yeah, again, whenever we have kind of lower level understanding as to how things work, we are better equipped to build better solutions.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and that goes to the point that I was trying to make earlier before, which is, being able to measure things without having to modify the code so that you can just look at, oh, okay, this is how fast it's running now. Let me make some tweaks. Let me look how fast it's running now. Again, not to add that code and then have it to, carry that baggage. It should just be a feature that you can just turn on or off so that you can then evaluate it. But anyway.
Question on this multi-threaded layout thing. I remember doing early WebDirect in 2013 and having multiple, like 12 different tabs on a tab panel, each of them having a portal on it, and how it just ground to a halt when you've got thousands of records on each portal because it was loading everything. Is it now to a point where if I had 12 tabs, it's only going to load the one that I'm showing? Does anybody know?
Yeah, I mean, I know that portals have that spinner, and that so it loads other objects, and then the layout, the portal will load in its own thread the data that it needs, so it doesn't delay the rendering of the layout till everything is loaded. That thing can be like a component that just renders when it's done. So, but I don't know, to your question, if the other tabs,
right,
need to get loaded as well.
John,
at the same
but
time.
I think that was one of the early fixes.
A little louder, Dennis.
I remember what you're describing, but I think that was one of the things that got fixed in the early years of WebDirect.
Was that a WebDirect specific question?
Yeah.
Well, I was experiencing the problem because it was a WebDirect solution. Now, I don't know that that's true, that the rendering is specific to WebDirect or FileMaker in general. I don't know. I think that'd be a nice under the hood question for Clay.
Tomorrow.
Oh, really? Is he going to be there tomorrow?
He's going to, Clay is presenting for the Dallas FileMaker user group, which is 12 o'clock New York City time. You all can translate that.
Right.
Yeah, it starts at 11:15 Central Time.
11:15 or 11?
11:15 usually. That
because I looked at what they're advertising. 11. Maybe that's a social. Maybe 15 minutes social.
They may be starting earlier than they used to.
I'll see if I can squeeze in that question. I have to leave, guys. It's been really fun. Thanks for being here tonight.
Thanks, John.
Thank you. That's answer to John's question. Hey, look at that.
What?
We're getting a tour of something.
Eric left a message. He says he's going to walk to dinner and he's going to take us with him.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Looks like he's in the men's room.
Oh, wow. This is the tour.
Okay. That's cool.
Okay, we'll have to do a little post-production work here.
Don't fall down the stairs.
Just on the portal loading, that that function of seeing the dial turning, one of the key components is that can be interrupted. So while you've got a portal in that stage, you can then click on a different tab and continue on, where previously you had to wait for the portal to load before the screen became active.
Oh,
so
cool.
it is loading a different thread.
Yeah.
And I have a customer running server 21, and obviously being on a slow connection and having a slow ping time, loading an admin layout that has multiple tabs on it. One of the portals has 10,000 or something records on the portal. It does wait and tell you it's searching for those records that are in the portal on a non-active tab when you load that layout. So even in Pro, it's still loading a non-active tab control that has portal in it with a heavy load in that portal.
Where does it tell you that?
It pops up a dialog and says searching, because a portal portal layout is similar to a search.
Yeah.
And so based on
I see. So you see the dialogue.
Yeah, you see the dialogue saying searching for records.
Okay,
when you're loading,
you have like 5, what if you have 5 tabs? You have 5 portals and 5 different tabs. You're going to get that dialogue 5 times?
Get a cup of coffee.
It depends on the amount of data that's in the portal and how it's being viewed as well. And a key component of that is if you try to sort the portal as well. And a sort dialog will pop up if you're sorting the portal rather than just a find.
Okay.
So even in Pro, that's still happening. And to your point before, Vince, about things loading in different orders, I think that came in around the time that the relationship joins were no longer sequential, because it used to be a time that you made sure that you had your simpler or your biggest, see it as a search, that if you were to have at the top of your relationship graph, like, if you had a date range before you actually had a status, it would be slower than if you switched it around the other way. And that became optimized under the hood in a previous version, that you no longer had to worry about the order in which you had your relationships. Maybe they did the same with the layouts at the same time. You didn't have to worry about how things were ordered. But to your point, we don't have much control of it at all.
But some of the predicates are more costly to use than others.
Yes.
Like greater than, less than, and greater than or equal to. Yeah.
Eric,
and it used to be you could optimize it by ordering them.
Yeah.
Now the system orders it for you.
Okay.
Rather than you having to care about that factor. It will go in and do the quicker ones first. It's like doing a big search and do your predicates first that are stored, and then have a constrain or expand for your unstored search, so that you're not trying to do the unstored search across a huge range of records, just what you've ended up at that stage.
Eric asked me to present something tonight. I don't know if it's of any interest to people. Is this a good time for it?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
In the last few weeks, I've discovered a new solution for integrating text messaging. Is that something that anybody cares about?
When you say text messaging, you mean text messages that you get sent to a phone?
I'm talking about being able to send text messages out of FileMaker.
To someone's phone?
SMS messages, I think.
SMS messages.
Well, the solution that I found is right now I'm only using it for SMS. It's also capable of MMS, and I haven't explored some of the voice capabilities that are there, but I'll tell you how I came upon it, and maybe this rings true for any of you. I had a customer many years ago that wanted me to integrate with Twilio. And I found that I had created an account with Twilio but I never was able to get it to work, and I abandoned it. And at the time that I abandoned it, I had put $20 into my account. I didn't realize that every month they were deducting from that $20. And so when I went back to them in October or November this year, they told me that I owed them $78 because they had gone below zero on my $20. And I really reacted with anger because it seemed like they were holding me for ransom. I didn't mind the fact that I lost the $20, but they wouldn't allow me to begin using their system unless I paid them the $78. And I know this is being recorded, so you can imagine what my remark was in 2 words when I told them I wasn't interested in working with them anymore. And I found a company in Australia, and that's what I would present to you tonight. It's called ClickSend, and they're absolutely wonderful. If you've worked with any web services and the chat systems that I have that are driven by AI, these people are totally different. Their AI is actually good, and all you have to do is type into the chat, speak to an agent, and a real person comes on who speaks proper English, and they're friendly and they're prompt, and they have an API that integrates beautifully with FileMaker. No frustration at all. Price is a little, maybe a penny or two more than Twilio, but the integration is really, really simple with one script. And if you want, I will show it to you.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. Let me just turn on the share.
Hold on, let's make sure I have the ability to give. Oh, you already got it.
So what I'm showing you is something that I put together because I expect that I'm going to put this into the marketplace. And what you see on the left is a quick little tour that I'll show you of what they've got going. So their website is real easy, clicksend.com/US. You'll be speaking in English. They give you a real easy way to get started with them. They give you $2 of their money to play with and 14 days of a test period. Their chat system, as I mentioned, is really wonderful. And even though they're in Australia, they're 24/7. Even over the holidays, they were there during Christmas and New Year's for me. So you can very easily send a test message for free. The free trial is $2 worth and 14 days. And their prices are tiered so that the more money you put in, the per message cost is lower. Connected to your own data really simply with the relationship graph. They have an API that's well written. I couldn't find any mistakes in it. And Postman has their whole library in it as well. The script that makes it work apparently was contributed by somebody in the UK because one of their chat people sent me a PDF that he got from somebody who was a FileMaker user in England who figured out how to make it work. So I can't claim credit for that. The Postman library is fine. They give you an easy way to authenticate with the username and the API key that they give you for free. And you just base64 encode that and filter it. There's a header which has this one JSON element in it that they call source. And this is what the fellow in England came up with. Maybe it was in their documentation, but I didn't find it on my own. As long as this thing called alpha tag from ClickSend is in there, it works. The curl variable is real easy. And what else? The phone numbers are, obviously they have a prefix, and I've put into this thing that I built in the settings, I put in every country with its dialing code so anybody can use that as a reference. The message is very simply created in JSON. And there's another screenshot. I'm not sure if I put it in here already. Oh yeah, this is the one. If you want to add a link to the SMS message, it just takes one additional element that's called shorten URLs. You can't use any other shorteners like Bitly or Google. They do it for you with their own method. And then it's a simple insert from URL out of the script. I'm parsing the response into a log so that I've got my own log in FileMaker, but they do have a whole history for your account in their system that you can go to. I find it a lot easier just to build it in so that the client that I'm building it for has their own built-in log. You have to get a toll-free number. The 10-digit numbers are more expensive because they're localized, but the toll-free numbers are $3 or $4 a month. And I really don't understand the whole, what do we call it? The regulations that require them to use these numbers rather than using your own mobile number as a sender. To get this 10-digit number approved or a toll-free number approved, you have to show them an opt-in form on your website. And it took 3 or 4 days and it got it approved real easily. And I will put this in the chat when I'm done tonight. This is a referral code that will give you a slightly lower price. So it's real easy. You can become a partner too and do the same thing with your clients. The script that runs it, let me just switch the share so I can, where's that share button? Oh, I found it here. It's just this one script. I hope you can see it, but it basically starts out with your username and your API key. I put up a dialog that lets people input the message that they're going to send and their phone number. You can use a subject line if you're using MMS, but SMS doesn't permit subjects. The next thing in the script, I set the URL that I'm sending to. The authorization is filtered with your username and your API key and base64 encoding. I put in another little dialogue here for my customer to, if they want to include a link, they just have to type the link into a custom dialogue. And then it sets the body. And if there's a link, I'm adding the link to the body. And the payload then is real simple. I showed you this a little bit before. And if there's a URL in there, it would be one additional JSON line. And that's it. And then it just gets submitted to ClickSend, and in 2 or 3 seconds, the message arrives. So if any of you wanted me to send one to you now, I suppose I could do that, but I'll put this in the chat if anybody's interested in using it.
That's very cool. Thank you.
Hey, Dennis, that looks real good. Are you aware of, I'd say about 2 years ago, there were some restrictions put on for sending, mail, SMS campaigns, bulk messaging. Are you aware of that?
Yes, and I think that's one of the reasons why they make you register the number that you're using for sending, because you have to agree to all of those regulatory terms. Yeah, and if you check out their website, you'll see that they have a whole built-in system that I haven't begun to use yet for campaigns and responses. I'm just thrilled that it's a company that's easy to get along with. No arguments about things, and they are really, really responsive.
Now, one thing I would say is that messaging APIs, for the most part, are real good APIs to cut your teeth on because they're not very complicated.
Well, that's true. I agree. I struggled trying to not only make Twilio work. Oh, and there's another thing I should mention about that. Twilio has a connector for Claris Connect, but if you have a site license instead of a regular volume license, you cannot yet use Claris Studio or Claris Connect. So in my case, I'm happy with my site license, and I had no particular desire to work with Claris Connect or wait for the site licenses to allow us to use it.
The project I was working on for beeswax, we looked at using the connector for that, but to be honest, the API was so simple, it really wasn't worth doing.
Right.
We did get bit by the campaign restrictions. We were sending out campaigns, and then it went into effect, and none of us knew it was happening, and mail stopped sending, and I don't think the companies at that point in time had all their ducks in a row on getting you registered, and it was a lot of back and forth to get our campaign started back up again.
I haven't done anything yet with the campaign. I'm working with a client that has been doing business with text messaging for years. Believe it or not, their business system relied on Post-it notes and manually generated text messages, about 100 of them every day. So they were just thrilled to have something that was integrated with FileMaker. It liberates them from all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for sharing, Dennis.
You're welcome.
Cool.
I'm just going to, before I put this thing in the chat, I'm just going to change the security and make sure that you can get in with a standard Claris, admin account. Because I really wasn't planning on this for tonight, but Eric got to me earlier today and asked me if I had anything for the meeting.
I could see it, not necessarily just, campaigns, but also, just notifications in general, the person who's going to come and do an evaluation on your home for home inspection or something is on his way,
Mhm.
or just, various kinds of things where you sometimes need to text message somebody about something.
So I need to ask Eric, who's got his thumb up at the moment, is that food from the from this Asilomar cafeteria?
Awesome. Looks
And
good.
is it good? What's on the menu tonight?
Corn and rice and something. I don't know. Oh, that looks good. By the way, the walkthrough was really like a rice and beans thing. Very cool. That walkthrough looked great. By the way, the area looked like really nice and large. Looks like a great facility.
You haven't been there before, Vince?
Have you been there, Mike?
I have not been there. I was talking to my boss, John Howell, and I was kind of talking about, planning this next event and what we think we needed to do, and the fact that Claris was not going to be doing Claris Engage, and that we needed a larger facility and go upscale and kind of have a nice place by the ocean. And John said, "You mean Asilomar?" And he's up in the Northwest. How do you know about that place? Well, he went down. He was there for a reception of some kind at some point in time. And Rick Coleman went to a conference there when he worked for one of the counties in California when they had a kind of county-wide gathering. So it just seems like kismet. It's a really nice facility. So,
Yeah.
And I really, after having the flank steak at the Jesuit Retreat Center, that to me it tasted like old socks. This will be a big upgrade.
Oh, cool. Talking about messaging, how many of you use what is it, local notifications? I might have asked this before.
I don't think
Configure local notifications. You ever use that? It's
Make the
like
little
on the Mac.
floating windows show up.
No, on the Mac when you have or on the phone. I think it was an iOS feature first before it came to the Mac. But configure local notifications allows you to send a notification on the Mac, and you can interact with it, right? So like if FileMaker's in the background, you'll get a notification. Let's say, I don't know, you run a script on the server and you have like a PSOS with callback, and the script does a long process, and finally it's done, and you're doing something else in some other app. You could be typing up an email or something. You'll get a notification that targets FileMaker, and it allows you to configure different things to run a script, or to etc. To like, okay, I want to see the report now, whatever. But I've had some issues with finding a way to know if the notifications are turned on in the OS for FileMaker to get those notifications, so that like if the script were to come back and try to call it, that we could do some error checking to see that the notifications are turned off, and that that then you shouldn't send them at all because it's not going to work.
You have to explicitly send notification in the privacy setting.
Doesn't it use that Mac OS feature that's in the iOS too? That I forget what they call it.
It's
I think it's
settings.
So Vince, I just dropped a AppleScript template, I guess you'd call it. So display notification, here's what I've done and here's what I haven't done. What I have done is it's AppleScriptable, and there's the thing that I just dropped into the chat is a calculation that if you were to pass in to a script, title, subtitle, sound name, and delay, and a few other things, and then this is perform AppleScript. You can have a centralized, API for calling an AppleScript. I'd imagine if you put a URL in there, it would be a clickable link that could do something clever.
Yeah, you could put an
shortcuts.
FMP URL.
That's what I was thinking.
What's that?
Shortcuts. There's a feature called shortcuts, which I think is a different animal.
Yeah, I think the shortcuts is what they're leveraging to do what Vince was describing.
Well, Vince, are you talking about notifications or shortcuts?
Notifications.
He's talking about notifications, but I think that they work when you enable shortcuts somehow.
No, I don't think so. I think it's not related to shortcuts, although you could probably do that with shortcuts. It's a system setting. If you go to system settings and you type notifications, you'll see a list of apps where you can control the notifications. When you install FileMaker, FileMaker gets listed there, and you could go there and click on FileMaker, and then you can allow notifications. right? You have different kinds. You have alerts or banners, etc.
Right.
But it's weird because I think if you try to run the script step that says configure local notifications, and then you try and get the error message, like what is it? Set error capture on, and so you suppress the error messages. I don't, if I remember correctly, and again, this is something I tested a while ago, haven't looked at it in a little bit, but it was like you couldn't get an error back if the notifications were turned off in the system settings. And I was hoping that there would be some way to trap for that and say, oh, okay, looks like you didn't turn on notifications, so I'm going to show you like a layout where it kind of gives you instructions on how to turn it on, etc. But anyway, I had some trouble with it. I don't know if anybody. The reason I was asking is to see if anybody's been using it.
Not yet here, Vince. By the way, it says 17 and up built in AppleScript before that. I did build it in AppleScript just for fun, although I didn't find a massive use case for it. Like, I didn't have users calling up day and night saying, hey, can you do notifications?
Yeah, it's a great idea because I can remember where, work on a system and you get a record lock and it says notify the other person. And so FileMaker will send a notification to another user using FileMaker, but if it's not the frontmost program, they never see it.
Okay, that would make it kind of half-baked.
Yeah. So I mean that's not using what you guys are talking about. That's using FileMaker's own little internal notification system. Which
that's a FileMaker 17 up script step.
I think that's been around since forever, ever since record.
Yeah.
But it's the thing is you can send a message to somebody, but once again, if they've got some program on top of FileMaker, they'll never see the message.
Yeah. I mean, does it, like in the past, it used to be the app used to bounce in the dock, right? It's like to kind
I think it'll still bounce, but you got to notice it. And of course, it also works with Windows as well. So there's that.
Are you sure it can communicate because it's called configure local notification?
Yeah.
I would think it's just local.
Yeah, it's
but who knows?
And go. Yeah. So that
local to the use case, not. But Slack is really good for notification. Just for the record, get the free version, use it as a notification engine.
Mm-hmm.
How would you use Slack as a notification engine?
But you also have to turn on notifications in Slack.
Yeah, that's right. You're back to square one.
Call them on the telephone.
Yeah.
Not human communication.
Walk over. Knock on their office door. Okay, it looks like the dessert is being served over there. Okay. That actually looks pretty clever.
Eric did post, I don't know if anybody saw it, that I think they were eating a vegetarian meal.
Yeah, did see that.
It does look clever with the dessert. That looks like 3 desserts. Oh, so all right, I'll ask a question. I have a customer sent me an email yesterday, wants to do scheduling of tables. So there's an event and they book 4 tables and they're going to try and schedule people to visit their tables. And let's just say that each table has 8 chairs to it.
Mm-hmm.
And shooting from the hip here, happy to be corrected, happy to hear new ideas. I said, obviously you could build something with the web because you can build anything with the web. But I thought Calendly, this could be a job for Calendly. And then there was some talk about time zones. And there's a website there's more than one website where you can have an event and you can send the URL. I'll drop that. And it'll tell you, this is good for the Zoom meetings. It'll tell you like the Dallas meeting is 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. But if you're in New York, that's 12. If you're in California, that's whatever that works out to be. So anyone working with Calendly, can you set up a Calendly where you have a time slot where you can have multiple people, or is it like one per, if that question makes sense?
I use Calendly. That's interesting. So you want to book multiple people at the same time into the same slot, right?
Yeah, like say I want 8 people. Like instead of like normal use case would be someone who's let's just say a software developer, and then you can book the software developer, but it'd be like one customer per time slot. So this would be, if a table was a time slot, then it would be 8 per time slot.
Mm. Oh, that I don't know. I don't know
Because that's off the shelf.
Because I thought that was pretty exclusive. That once you had a time slot that was scheduled, you nobody else could go into that time slot.
So you could do some sort of MacGyver where like the time slots are like, if you have 8, you just make 8 slots available, like 1 a.m. What do you call it? 1 p.m. or 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., and make those the tables. But that's pretty hackish.
Well, the other thing, are these tables for like a restaurant, Tony?
It's an event.
For an event. Yeah, because if you were designing something, let's say for a restaurant, and you also have to, say, hey, we got a party at 12, we need to put, 3 4 tops together. And, in the real world, that's real easy, but in FileMaker, there's some complexity to that.
Yeah, it's more like they have 4 tables that I'm guessing they're paying for, and they want their customers and associates and current customers, future customers, and they want to kind of, within this a larger event, which is, let's just say 100 tables, they've got their collection of tables, and they want to schedule people with some degree of flexibility as to who sits where. They're going to like engineering the social interactions.
Sounds like wedding planners.
It's a little bit like a wedding planner thing.
Well, with Exchange accounts, you can add people to the event with their email addresses.
With Microsoft Exchange?
Yeah, with Exchange servers, yeah.
You might also look at seed code and see if you can play with, I think they call them resources, where, for meetings that are in a facility that has a room and the room holds a certain number of people. And if you considered the table to be the same as a room, it might allow you to populate it that way.
Could be.
Yeah. Back to that Exchange server point that you were talking about. So I have a number of different types of email accounts. Some are IMAP and some are Exchange servers. And only on the Exchange server do I get that option to add people. I don't get that option on a standard IMAP.
Oh, hey, speaking about email accounts, I have a customer who was having issues with Apple Mail interacting with the Gmail account. And so we're currently in the process of, let's see, there's 30,000 in the outgoing folder. There's about 80,000 emails. And it seems as if Apple is struggling to manage to serve as a front end to a Google IMAP email server when there's that many emails.
Yeah, you have this constant communication with an IMAP account.
Yep.
Or even Exchange account that's trying to do everything. So caches get easily corrupted. And and there can be a bug on some Apple Mail servers where caches grow to, I've seen them up to 500 gigabytes. And they're hidden files. You got nowhere to look to purge them. But sometimes, you got to rebuild the mailbox. But, some customers, you just can't teach them to manage their mail. I mean, 80,000 emails is ridiculous. So,
Well, we are making progress. We're unsubscribing to a variety of chatty newsletters,
mhm.
and we had some lively debates here about the optimum tools, because you can either use the Google web browser, which has some features, and then you're dealing directly, or you could use the Apple Mail, which has the ability to sort, and the flags are better, and the right clicking is better.
So if
But you pay the price. You pay the price of setting a flag in Apple Mail and having to wait for it to catch up on the communication to the IMAP server.
So what I've done I've got a couple of clients, which I call them mail hoarders. They don't like to delete anything.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I do.
My customer is innocent, by the way. My customer is just innocent.
So what I do is I rather than delete their email, I will basically go into Apple Mail and pick like the oldest year, like here's your mail from 2017. And you can just do a search, type in 2017, and it'll bring up all of 2017. And then I will actually create a mail folder that's on their desktop and move them off the server into those folders. And then that helps pare things down. But it's a stopgap solution.
That's actually that's a good idea, because you just drag the whole folder and it makes like a gigantic .eml file. Yeah, and then it's available, so you're offline archiving, and then you could delete it with reckless abandon if you back it up well. Yep.
And of course, when you do that, that only works for that stuff's only on one device.
Well, you'd wisely back it up on multiple devices, depending.
Yeah. Because I got 150,000 emails.
Oh yeah, 150. All right, you went in. What happened?
Well, it works, but it struggles, and you can corrupt caches really easy. I mean, if you are looking at your mail and things are trying to download, and you lose your network connection because you're on your laptop somewhere.
So where would you say the caches are corrupted? Is that on the local?
That's on the local.
So you throw them out and they rebuild, I reckon.
Yeah. So what you want to do to find those caches is use the Command-Shift period to expose invisible folders, and then go down into the user's library folder and look for the cache folders, and you can find them. I also, make sure you turn on, if this is a bug, this is a bug that I've seen back in older versions of the operating system. I haven't seen it lately. But my wife has this issue. She's got an old computer, but I've seen several people with this issue. If you make sure you turn on show folder size, and then show in your directory by folder size, you'll quickly expose what are the large folders, and you can find those files and just delete them. And the most common thing that would happen, as my troubleshooter, is that people call me, my disk is full, and it's because it's cache files taking up half their computer.
Yeah, that's a good tip. We'll try that. We've been hacking away. We have been making progress on multiple fronts. We've been deleting, thousands and thousands of email. I recently, it took me a while to see, like, oh wow, your sent folder's got 30,000 or 35,000 because it's 18 years. That was a bit of a surprise to me, because we had deleted like 4,000 here and 6,000 here, and I thought, well, this is great. Then I found 30. It's like, bigger than I thought. And then a lot of unsubscribing to kind of turn the water off at the faucet that's flooding the floor.
Sure.
And then the final thing, there's something about Spotlight. I think Apple Mail uses Spotlight, and I think, well, anyway, I'll let you know next meeting how it goes. We'll get it done eventually.
Yeah, and I think Spotlight, I could be wrong in this, but I think Spotlight only searches the email addresses and the headers. I don't think it searches in the body. I could be wrong on that, but because when I do searches with Spotlight, I never see anything in the body.
Final thought on this, and I think this is interesting. It is, I used to be a member of the Apple Consultant Network, past a certain.
So was I.
I'm certified in Mac OS 8.5, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
And some other version, I passed two of those from like a bazillion years ago. That said, I'm on one of the refugee lists, one of the Apple refugee lists.
Mm-hmm.
And, I answer a question every now and then if it has the word FileMaker in it. But I do read them. And it is once a year, there's a thread about the email, someone with 80,000 emails, and it ain't working so good. So it's a bit of a known issue, like try not to have 100,000. So I archive into a FileMaker database emails that, parses out AppleScript. Very slow, but that would be a good template for the Claris to put out there, like an email archiving utility. I can't.
Yeah, that would be good. In the case of my particular clients, these are not FileMaker clients, so it wouldn't make any sense for them to do that.
Well, as a utility,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a whole other thing. Like, what would I do if it falls into the category? What would I do if I was running FileMaker?
Yeah. The fact that the mail can almost work, with several hundred gigabytes of data, I do harken back. I don't know if you remember the days when Outlook had a 2 gigabyte limit on it. If you reached that, you had a very woeful mail program.
It is pretty amazing that you can manage 10,000 emails in Apple Mail, or that email works at all. Is pretty amazing.
I was far from what I call it's far removed from what I call a best practice. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like I say, when I used to go visit clients, and if I see their I see papers all over the place, and they store their lunch in their file cabinet, I know exactly what their computer's desktop is going to look like. It's just.
I wonder what like a big architectural firm, let's say, where they have not just one person, but they have 50 architects, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all emails, and they're all storing it because it's institutional knowledge. I wonder what their mail servers look like, whether they're Google or Rackspace or Microsoft Exchange or whatever.
I don't know, the architects and designers that I had, the biggest thing was trying to create good NAS systems for them or good cloud storage for them. The mail was never an issue. It was just the idea is that some of the disciplines that you would have in designer shops is that you would store the jobs on a server, but when you need to bring that job up to do work, you would basically drag the file off the server, work on it locally, and then version it and put it back. But it takes a discipline. Sometimes graphic shops or designers and architects don't have that discipline.
They're too creative.
Yeah. So anyway, I see Dennis is gone. We'll see you later.
Dennis, thanks for the presentation.
Hey, Tony.
Yes, sir.
When you mentioned OS 8.5,
yes,
I'll just leave you with this memory. I was tasked with presenting 8.5 to the Max of Marin user group, I guess 20 years ago. And that was when you had to pay $99 for this DVD or CD that it came on. So when I got in front of the group, I asked for a show of hands, and I said, how many people here have ever been beta testers for Apple? And of course, nobody raised their hand, and I held up the disc and I said, well, for $99, you can be a beta tester for Apple. Because 8.5 was as buggy as 8.0 and 7.5. So
I like 10.6.8 was a terrific I obviously like all the versions that Apple ships. At 10.6.8 was a really beautiful, relatively bug-free, colorful version. It was the last colorful version.
Or are you talking about
Mac OS Snow Leopard 10.6.8?
That was
Snow Leopard,
that's a sweet spot. I actually have that in Parallels.
Runs FileMaker 6, I think.
Yeah, and
colorful icons, just for the record.
And I could also use it to convert bento files, and yeah, I mean, could run the PowerPC stuff. It had the Rosetta stuff, the first generation. You can really go a lot of different ways with that. So,
A friend of mine gave me a power, what is it, a G4 iMac that was a PowerPC thing, and it still runs beautifully. Runs Leopard, nothing higher than Leopard, but I bought a special sized duffel bag that I could use to take it home on an airplane, put it in the overhead without damaging it. It's such a beautiful machine with that rotating swivel display and the hemispherical base.
It's a wonderful design.
Yeah, it was in the Museum of Modern Art collection.
They were not a lot of fun to work on, but they're a wonderful design. And when I say work on, take them apart. So,
well, I'm going to say goodnight to you guys.
Okay.
Good night.
Good night. Good night, Dennis. Thank you.
I'm going to depart as well.
And so am I.
Okay.
So have a good night, everybody.
I think Eric's running the meeting, but I don't see Eric. I just see his dishes.
I'm here. I did Dave Simpson's. I want to hear his latest covered calls.
All right.
All right.
See you guys later.
Take care. Bye, David.
Bye.